Good morning. My name is Kayla Gillispie. I'm a high school English teacher and I am a M.A.T candidate here at Eastern Kentucky University. This is my capstone project for ENG 814 for Dr. Ashby's class. I have titled my capstone project as Crossing Thresholds Transformative Learning and Writing Across the Curriculum. And in this essay, I explored how writing is way more than just a skill that we are to teach one grade level. And it's even more than just teaching one specific core class. So it's not just taught in English, it's kind of taught everywhere. And that it is a powerful way of thinking that shapes students' identities through every subject area that they come across. Too often, writing is taught as a general skill like grammar or a structured 5 paragraph essay, argumentative essays, maybe even some summaries here and there. But in reality, writing in biology, history, or other educational majors serves a very, very different purpose, and it also has a different approach for all of those areas. Through my research, I focus on the idea that threshold concepts like transformational ideas, once understood, completely shift how students think within their discipline that they have. For example, when a student begins to see writing as part of a scientific inquiry, not just as a report, they have then crossed that threshold, which is kind of what writing across the curriculum, or WAC, is meant to do, and it's one of the best ways to support students in these moments. I also looked at writing centers in WAC programs across campus collaboration and how they all kind of support this same type of learning. One really powerful example came from Oklahoma's Writing Enriched curriculum, where writing was integrated into STEM fields over time by working with faculty and students. So they had a dual perspective input on both of them. And I also explored different writing centers and how they promote metacognition. And then this is helping students reflect on what they're doing and why they're doing it. And they found that this reflection is the key to helping them transfer their writing from what they know from one genre, so English class, and then taking it to other subject areas. I also looked at gaps. So I focused, after all of my research, I kind of focused on what does all of this research say. So that was kind of like the trends. And then what does the gaps show? Because obviously there's going to be some gaps. And if you look into, it's the trends and gaps research page with this one, because I've done a poster. I don't have like the little pin to flow through. But you'll see there was 4 common trends and then there's 4 common gaps. So trends, they focused on identity formation through writing. They have the cross-campus collaboration, which is very essential. And then they have the STEM faculty that is often very resistant to writing integration across fields. And writing centers bridge skills and thinking together. The gaps on in all of the research, I've picked out like 4 different areas. So I had student voices and diversity is missing. There was little on digital and multimedia writing, and there's lack of STEM specific strategies. And then lastly, they need some sort of assessment for all of this threshold learning. Student voices are or were rarely in the center of the research, and we don't hear enough about them from crossing with writing thresholds at all. And there's also a lack of attention to the digital side of things. So with social media coming more and more involved in not only our lessons that we do, I mean, it's on our rubric that we get graded for with teachers, is integrating technology. But even forms of blogs and videos on social media, there wasn't a lot of knowledge from these resources. This is all very important because that's the real meaningful side of writing that students are going to leave school and see, whether that's high school or college, they're going to leave school seeing that side of things. So with this, I designed a case study based on a student that I will call Gianna. This explored her disciplinary identity through using different digital forms of writing. With this, my goal was to understand how modern tools can support threshold learning, especially for students who don't connect to the traditional academic writing. So this second slide shows more of kind of what I pulled from this mock student research that I would have done. So before WAC, so before the integration of things, Gianna, she struggled with general mechanical writing, and she felt very disconnected from her discipline. Then step 2, she's learning a little bit more. She's asking for help. So I have her shown working with a tutor. She's using a laptop. They're kind of passing back and forth ideas. It's this support system that Gianna has ultimately discovered with WAC. And she's beginning to explore the digital tools that she has at her fingertips. Picture 3 is her, Gianna, writing some sort of blog, whether it's on a laptop or on a piece of paper. Even with doodles around her experimental aspects that she's taking, her creative side. This is to help her connect with the discipline that she's wanting to write to. And then picture number 4 is a light bulb moment with Gianna. And this is how it would present to her peers. So other peers that she has could see that there's definitely been a shift in Gianna's ability to write. So this is that threshold moment, that realization that writing is not just a skill, but it is a way to think professionally in her field. And then 5 is like smiling Gianna with stars all around her paper because she's really happy. This is her finished portfolio type of work. This is after WAC. She has fully embraced this process, writing as a disciplinary, and she has integrated it into her discipline, her identity as who she is. And then I had some really strong quotes that I have, just different things from across the curriculum. What was some things that were really heavily pointed out. And then Gianna's story in my paper was that she was trying to connect equine science to social media aspects of it. So that's kind of the area that I focused on during my paper. So, in conclusion, I chose this topic because I deeply struggled with reading and writing in school, and I often felt very behind, and ultimately, I was falling behind. So now that I teach English and I teach reading, and I try to focus my attention on the students who would have been like me, and I believe that this also helps me research different classroom environments that I could bring into different types of settings. And especially if students don't feel confident and they feel afraid to write or they feel afraid to read, a lot of this I can pull from this research that I've done. And in conclusion, writing across the curriculum isn't just about improving writing. Like, obviously, we as educators want students to improve in their writing, but it's more about helping students cross that threshold or cross that hurdle that they have, that will transform how they learn and how they think. And then my hope is to keep supporting these moments in my classroom and maybe even in future research that I decide to do. So I know I went over time, but I just wanted to share Gianna's story and kind of that future study that I did. But thank you so much for listening.